Hello, Anita. Good afternoon.
Hi, Smita.
Hello, friends. Let's start the meditation with divine guidance from Brahmarshi Pitama Patriji, Mahatar Babaji, Ramta Master, and all the masters with humble blessings and pranams to all of them. Let's start the meditation with a deep relaxation. Sit in a comfortable position. Close your eyes, clasp your hands, cross your legs. Remove your spectacles. My head is relaxed. My forehead is relaxed. My neck is relaxed. My shoulders are relaxed. My entire back is completely relaxed. My chest is relaxed. My hip region is completely relaxed. My legs are completely relaxed. From head to toe, my whole body is completely relaxed and relaxed and relaxed. My eyes are relaxed. My nose, ears, everything is completely relaxed. If there is any tightening in your jaws, just let go and completely relax. My forehead is relaxed. My head region is completely relaxed. All the organs in my head, my eyes, nose, ears, everything is beautifully relaxed, calm and peaceful. My neck is relaxed. Shoulders are also completely relaxed. My back region is completely relaxed. My spinal cord is also completely relaxed. My chest region is completely relaxed. Stomach region, hips, all the organs in the hip region are fully relaxed and relaxed and relaxed. My thighs are relaxed. Calf region is fully relaxed. Feet, toes, toenails, sole. The whole body is fully relaxed and relaxed and relaxed. Continue to relax the body until the whole body is fully relaxed. When the body is relaxed, the mind is not too chattery. Now let's focus on the Anapanasati meditation. Observe your breath. Observe each in-breath and out-breath. Just stay with the breath. If you get distracted with thoughts, just keep coming back to the breath. Intend that you are connected to your higher self and that you are already in the fifth dimension. You are already in oneness. You are already one with your higher dimensional consciousness. And mind and body are fully relaxed and relaxed and relaxed. Masters, slowly at the count of 5. Keep your palms on your eyes. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Open your eyes with a beautiful smile.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. I don't think we had any outstanding questions to discuss. I don't remember if we had any. I don't think we had any. Yeah, I don't think I marked anything urgent. Most of it, I think, has been cleared. So we can go to the next point. Let me just share my screen. So till date, what have we, yesterday, what did we do? We started with the 4th chapter and then we went through, let's see. Yeah, we went through this, how the earth shifted to 3D. And then I gave you some information about what Ramtha Master says also about, there was a lot of information in that white book, right? So I basically brought that white book explanation also here, so, because here there is nothing like a very nice story kind of thing that has been mentioned, but then there some more information was there, which is what I shared. And then we learned about the variety of beings that were entering the human forms from different dimensions and what all they had access to. See, this free will, right? Free will is anyway there for every consciousness. Free will is there, but the problem that we think, let's say we in the sense 3D human beings also think, oh, even I have free will. Do you really have free will? Who are you? I mean, we are the body. Let's say the body, behind the body, there is that a small portion that is now attached, right? We have clearly read that that person who is attached, or that entity that is attached to the body, has nothing, has no role to play. Like Bindu had sent a picture yesterday, right? We read that, where we clearly saw that that person was an observer and he had no role to kind of play in this whole thing, which means he has no decision making capabilities, anything. He was just a collector of information, and then he is just going to take that information and then he's going to pass it on to the higher dimensional consciousness. So that was what his role was. So now who has the free will? Now we are in our ego, which means we are in our body consciousness, which is even further than that entity that is attached. So what kind of free will we have? We have no free will. We have no free will. All that we have to do is just behave like a body and understand that ego has no role to play here apart from, let's say, ego is doing its job. Ego just wants to keep the body safe and all that. It doesn't want the body to die. So wherever it feels that I'm threatened, my body is like at risk or something like that, it will react. And that habit has actually come over a period of time. So we technically don't have free will, because if you say I have free will, I can expect whatever I want, I can like whatever I want, I can dislike whatever I want, I can desire whatever I want. So what is that going to do? It is going to continue to keep you in this 3D field. Because as long as you have desires to keep, you will keep coming back. You will keep coming back to fulfill those desires. So you can say that, oh yeah, there is nothing wrong in actually desiring something. Yeah, but then if you want to keep coming back, then you'll also have to accept the way the duality world is also, right? If you want only some parts of this world, you should accept everything that this world is made of. 3D world. It has lower emotions also, it has higher emotions also. You need to accept both. But what do? We say, I don't like some things, I like some things. That won't work. If you say I don't like something and I want something, and for the ones that I like, I will keep coming back, you will also get the package, which is something that you don't like. which is what duality is all about. You have some things that you will like, you have some things that you don't like, and it is all a package deal. You cannot say that I will take only one part of it, I will not take another part of it. So we technically don't have free will, because we are meant to depend on the higher consciousness or higher self. And the higher self is supposed to feed us information, do this, do that kind of thing, and then we are supposed to do it. But since we are not connected to higher self, our major focus, our entire major focus should be to get to the state where we are connected to the higher self. Because without that connection, we are lost. So this free will concept is there at a higher consciousness level, so which is the HDC level. It has nothing to do with body level at all. Body has no free will. Body was designed to serve the higher consciousness. It has no freedom of its own. So which freedom are we talking about? Which free will are we talking about? Which desire are we talking about? So when you say free will, when I have free will, we all have free will. No, we don't have free will. We have to choose to respond. Yeah, I do have free will to say, okay, I can continue to keep connected to duality, or I can basically move to a Sachidanand state, which is so typically what are the things that that bind us to this duality is majorly all kinds of fears. So what are the typically there in there are four kind of fears. We have fear of death, right? We have fear of sadness, we have fear of suffering, then we have fear for enemies. Enemies means it's not technically like a bandit or thief or something. In your own family there are enemies, because if you think somebody is not um, somebody doesn't like me, somebody doesn't like my ways, they don't like the way I live, okay, then they become your enemy, right? Wherever there is a difference of opinion between two people, you both are technically enemies of each other, because you are not choosing to look at good for each other. So you all are obviously on two different paths. Then fear of lack of knowledge is also a fear. Why do we constantly read newspapers? Why do we constantly go and connect to people? Why do we constantly go read books? If higher consciousness was always with us, why do we need even books? We don't need books also, right? Today, why are we even going to books? Why are we going to all kinds of shastras and all of those things? Majorly because we are not connected to our HS. We are not doing any of those things. So if we have access to the entire knowledge which is inside us only, then why do we even need something that is basically what do you say, a past version or whatever you want to call? Somebody has downloaded some information from that universal database from his perspective and then put it in a book, and now you are reading somebody else's perspective. It is still the universal knowledge, but it has come down from the belief system of some other HDC, and then it is now there in the book form, and then we are reading the book so that we can get insights through our own belief system. It's like there is one filter that he put in his thing while creating the book. Now we are taking it through another filter, which is us. So there is so much of what do you say, mismatch that is going on. So much of truth is actually lost in this whole thing. So all these fears have to go, and the only way to do that is to first make sure that every single action of ours is to get to that connection to our higher self, which is our fifth dimensional consciousness. And we have to stop behaving like animals and start to behave more like the body that we are supposed to be. Right? What is a body supposed to do? It is supposed to just serve the HDC, nothing else. Body doesn't have anything like that. So it's like majorly, what should be your, let me just note it down some points. Let me just see where. So what should be our way of thinking? We should think like, when we start saying, when let's say I do something to somebody, Am I doing it so that I am freeing myself of the sorrow? For example, typically we tend to say, be blessed, or we say, God, let that guy get good buddhi, or let that person start to think properly. I am anyway thinking properly. I am anyway right, but let that person think properly. May they start thinking in the right direction. Why do we say all that? Because we are getting bothered by their ignorance. So what we say, let that person's ignorance go. God, please help them. See, that is also selfish only, right? Because we think that their ignorance is hurting us. So that is also a form of ignorance only, that we are separate. Okay. Then, so what should be our, so we have to do many things for the welfare of everybody, because ultimately, what are you seeing? It is all those people that you're seeing is a reflection of yourself only, right? So your focus should be to do good for the welfare of everybody around you. And then you should, like how Bhagavad Gita says, do your actions without any attachment to the results. Any action. Do your action without any, not for ego's hunger. Do your actions without any attachment to the results. How should your thought be? Your thought should be for the welfare of everybody. Whatever action, whatever work I'm going to do, whatever thinking that I'm going to do, everything that I'm going to contribute should be for the welfare of everybody. And I should not go and then feed fears into people. As it is, everybody is fear. Like I told, right? 4 fears: fear of death, fear of suffering, fear of enemies, fear of ignorance. I think that I'm ignorant. I think that I don't have enough knowledge. That is also a form of fear that comes in the middle part of your evolution, where you know that you need to get there, but you also know that you are not having enough knowledge to get there. That is one kind of spiritual thing. But then even when you're in the materialistic thing and still not in the spiritual thing and all that, there also you are trying to feel that, okay, I'm missing out on information. I'm missing out on being in certain circles of people because I don't have certain information in my life. Or let's say, in my own case, let's say I used to think, okay, I don't know enough coding to be able to be among those top 5 people, top 6 people kind of thing. See, all that is also a form of fear. We don't want to be in that state because we fear that we will get left off. So many of these things are also fears only. It is not just fear of death all the time. It is all these fears. So this is one of the worst things that has ever been created on this 3D plane, which is what Ramta also told yesterday, right? So first, focus on that oneness. Focus on oneness will help you think about the welfare of everybody. Welfare of everybody doesn't mean I will interfere in their life and I will make them do what I want to do. Okay, that is not welfare. The welfare is you do your job, which is to increase your light so that you can be the light in their life also. So then the welfare of everybody, the welfare or the welfare or their happiness, your happiness, their happiness is actually common happiness. See, the thing is, you should remember that every single thought of yours, action of yours, everything will actually impact the whole cosmos, because we are all vibrating beings, right? We cannot actually be contained within ourselves. We are going to impact the whole cosmos. We are going to add to the collective consciousness. If there is fear in the collective consciousness, if you are in fear, you are adding to that fear of a collective consciousness. So try to, as much as possible, work for the welfare of the common good. Okay? Then you should do your actions so that, and don't expect anything in return. Whatever has to come to you will come to you anyway, right? Then do your actions for that God that is sitting behind you, not for yourself. Not for yourself. Do it like the body that is supposed to serve the soul. This body was created to serve the soul that is behind. The entire lineage, right from top GFOL, right from there, IAP, HDC, everybody, the entire line is sitting there just waiting for this body to perform, just waiting for you to chop vegetables and be in the now moment, that to that small level of detail, to actually interact with another human being with kindness, to interact and not spread fear in the world. I'm not basically expectations in the world, all of those kinds of things basically. Though and from there they are waiting so that information is going to get transferred from this body to the next one, to the next one, to the next one, to the next one, to the next one. The entire chain of command is waiting for us. So do your job so that you can be more a empty vessel in the sense empty flute. You can be an empty flute for this chain of command. When you are an empty flute and you don't have your own likes, dislikes, expectations, and all of those things, then things will just flow seamlessly to that state. Then your job or your ultimate goal has to be self-realization. Self-realization means I don't want to be in this deluded state. Who am I? I need to know who am I. So that who am I should be your connecting to HS and knowing who I am, knowing that entire chain of command that I am the God. I am that God. Okay. To know that is enlightenment. That should be your ultimate goal. If that is your ultimate goal, in Bhagavad Gita, it is called mumukshatva. Mumukshatvam means moksha. Dharma, kama, artha, and moksha. Okay, 4 purusharthas. So in that, even if you have 3, you will still not be a person who is walking that path. Like for example, Bali Chakravarti. He was walking the path of dharma. He had collected all his artha, which is basically all his wealth and everything, for dharmic reasons only. And he had desires also for the welfare of everybody. Okay, he had all the first 3, but he did not want to merge with God. He did not want that union with himself or that godness that is. So ultimately, he had to be shown his path to the Patalam. Because a person who does not want to go back to his original state does not want to evolve at all. He does not want to evolve. So if a person does not want to evolve, then you are not eligible to be here. Right? The earth does not want to spend her resources on you. So that is what it means. So you need to have that desire for moksha. That is what it is. Because ultimately, this body has to evolve. This body was created only to evolve. This body was created so that it can be taken along in the process of evolution. So you need to have that in mind when you're thinking and doing many of these things, right? So ultimately, I should serve the chain of command that I am serving. That should be your ultimate thing. And then you need to always be in surrender. You need to practice surrender all the time. As soon as you know that I'm actually doing something, I'm lost, blah, 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 practice surrender. You know that we are never alone, right? So the only time is to practice surrender, is to understand that I'm never alone. I'll just do my job. Everything will be taken care of. Whatever is right for me will come to me. Even if I have to suffer as a part of that, don't suffer. Do every single chore, do every single hard work, do everything just as a part of that. In that moment, I have to serve. While my body is paining, I have to serve. Let that pain experience go to them, no? Let them understand that this is what pain is. You don't put one additional masala into it and suffer and all that. Just give pain directly. Let the pain be there, let the pain be experienced by the entire chain of command. Something like that. This is what our thing has to be. So the more we are like this, easily that evolutionary path will go forward. See, it's not like I'm saying I'm perfect or something, but at least we need to try to get to that mind's consciousness. Okay. So see, when we get to that higher self state, which is called Satchidanand state or enlightened state, Sat is what? Sat means existence. So what I told you about the fears, right? Fear of death. So Sat means there is no fear of death. because I know I am a eternally existing soul. So there is no fear of death. So that is one fear is gone. Then chit means is knowledge. So it means that I don't have sadness or suffering. Why do I suffer? Why do I have sadness? Because of ignorance, lack of knowledge. So that is gone. Chit is gone. Then I'll have knowledge means everything will anyway come. So that is gone. Anand is what? Happiness. So then if I am happy, right? Then what happens? There is no sadness. There is nothing. So I'm always happy all the time. So there are no enemies also. Enemies are exist because of the sense of separation. So if you are only happy and you're all thinking that it's all in oneness state, everything is there, then there are no enemies. Then there is anyway, knowledge is anyway gone. So it's important that you understand that the only way for you, that is the only goal from 3D, there is no other goal. The only goal for you is to go there. And the moment you have a plan to go there, the moment you are at least focused and intending to go there, on that path, you'll get everything. You'll get money, you'll get health, you'll get this, you'll get that. Everything is a part of that package. You don't have to go separately looking for those packages. This path has everything lined up for you. So that is what you need to understand. If you are thinking about that common good, then the universe will come and serve you to ensure that that common good is achieved through you, and you will be that perfect instrument. So the more you act like an instrument of God, God will give you everything that you want, because his evolutionary path is actually being very nice. He is getting fast progress. Okay, so yeah, this is free will. And then we saw that they were accessing the quantum field also. Because of that, they didn't anticipate that they'll go to 4D 3D and all that, but they went anyway, right? So that was the issue there. They didn't anticipate it. And then the ego structure, we also saw that ego, because they had not anticipated them going down to 4D 3D and all that, understanding of who I am became distorted. And we discussed in detail how it got distorted yesterday. It is not like this distorted ego was created in us. It was not created or designed. It became the current ego, got deluded. It forgot who it was and became another ego. That another ego became more of something that is constantly getting threatened by somebody's existence, some other creation. And then it is constantly trying to show its superiority. It's trying to make its presence felt. In every single ego stuff, we want to make our presence felt. We want to show that I did it. This is mine. So your presence should be inside that. That is what this whole ego became over a period of time, right? And then today we will start this. Anchoring into lower dimensional fields. The fifth pivotal reason for the fall was the anchoring of the physical forms into lower dimensional fields. We saw that yesterday, right? They didn't anticipate that they will go and anchor and tap into lower also. All that technology of the sun, yin and all that was designed to make sure that they go up. But with or without sun, they went off down, because the process anyway worked for down also. So anchoring into a dimensional field requires the human body to hold 80% of its frequency in that dimension that we saw in the anchoring and tapping. For example, a 4D human form is anchored into 4D field when 80% of its frequency is in the 4D frequency. It may be holding some 5D, 6D frequencies, but most of the frequency is in 4D. So even we, right, we have some amount of 4D, 5D frequencies, because someday we will be when we are writing gratitude and all, we will be like super in that high blissful state. All that we've actually touched. We have definitely touched. Or when we are really happy, some surrender happened, we did surrender, and some like that outcome was like super good. All that, when that happened, we actually hit those frequencies, but we are not able to retain in those frequencies because predominantly we are in either 3D, 4D. The form is experiencing itself in 4D. The higher consciousness within the 4D human is experiencing a reality through the lens of the 4D field. lens means that energy field, right? Now it is going to filter based on 4D, right? It becomes more of the properties of that energy field sort of changes. The filtering mechanisms of that energy field sort of changes. It may feel 5D consciousness or 6D consciousness, but if it is anchored into 4D, its reality will be seen through the lens of the 4D. Which means you will see bad. You will see bad, you will see good, all that will happen. And you will see that somebody is trying to show more power on you. It will be seen through that lens. If you have that mind of a 5D, 6D, then you can say it's okay. Yeah, even if he's showing his power, he's still anyway God. Like that, you can anyway convert. But what will show in front of you is power play only. When the 5D human began to experience 4D consciousness, those consciousnesses moved into 5D human form. Okay, that human being form, which was designed for 5D, now it started absorbing everything, all that 4D stuff and all, it started absorbing. The 4D consciousness is a lower frequency than the frequency within the 5D human form. Correct? The 5D human form was designed, it was crystal, right? Now it started to fall down. When it entered the human form, when it enters the human form, it will move slower. Right? The chakra, the spin will actually be slower. It holds more density. Imagine thicker and denser energy trying to move through a fast, clearer energy field. The denser energies slow down and can settle into the human body. Right? If there is something that is spinning like this, some chakra is spinning like this, take anything that is spinning like this. Now suddenly some heavy thing comes in front of it, it will slow down like that. Okay, it slows down. As the 5D human experienced 4D consciousnesses, the body began to hold. Okay. As the 5D human experienced 4D consciousness, the body began to hold 4D frequencies. It became slower and slower. So it began to hold it, slowly shifting the body down to the lower frequency. The more 4D consciousnesses the more 4D consciousness the human experienced, the more the physical body held and shifted into 4D frequencies. Over time, the human body continued to choose to experience 4D consciousnesses. The body eventually anchored into 4D. Choose. What do you mean by choosing? He chose to believe that somebody was doing power play on him. He chose to believe that something is bad. He chose to accept what was coming as a reality in front of him. Catalog will be shown in front of you, but if you have a mind of a higher frequency and you choose to operate at that higher frequency, right, then you will basically say, no, it's okay, this is that. For example, when somebody comes who like in front of Buddha only, so many people came and then used to badmouth him and all of that, but then he did not go to those lower frequencies. Lower frequencies came in front of him, but he chose to remain in his own frequency by ignoring all those bad mouthing that they used to do to him. They used to scold him, saying, my family members have now started coming and sitting here. They are not doing this, they are not doing that. You are trying to take them away. And all of that, they would basically scold him. They would do many things. They would not even give him bhiksha, all that they would do. But did he choose to believe all that? He did not think those were bad at all. He continued to believe that those are just experiences. He did not get down to that level. But what happens when you get down to believe all that the way it is? You just say, oh my God, why is she acting like this to me? Maybe she doesn't like me. All that we start, no? It will start from somewhere, it will start. So then you are basically now choosing to say, I like this 4D experience. And then what happens? The filtering will continue to give you what you like or what you say yes to. And then you will eventually anchor into 4D. This did not happen overnight again. We watched for millions of linear years as 5D human beings began to access and experience the 4D, the more humans access the 4D. See, initially, I'm sure people had that mind to resist. Resist means to actually operate in 5D, even though 4D was coming. But over time, when more and more and more kept coming, because they were not trying to go to fight. They were not trying to evolve like how we are trying to choose to evolve, right? We know and we are trying to do it. But they didn't try to go up at all. They just were there experiencing. And the more those lower forms of experience kept coming, they started to get absorbed and sucked up into that whole thing. The more humans access the 4D field, the larger the field became and easier it was to access. The 4D field was expanded on the earth plane, and 5D humans were beginning to anchor into the 4D. So most of the humans started dropping to 4D consciousness, and the earth became more of a 4D plane. Earth was in fifth dimension, right? Now the whole earth itself became 4D because now predominantly her energies that she collected at a collective level was all 4D. Eventually, 5D humans in the 5D field stood on the same earth plane with the 4D humans in the 4D field. Hundreds of thousands of human bodies held 4D frequencies and were standing in the fourth dimension and experiencing fourth dimensional consciousness. A human now could choose to incarnate into 4D human form, anchored into 4D field, so when new people came, new volunteers and all came, or when babies happened or something, they could choose to go into 4D or 5D. Now what happened? That field opened up, no? They didn't plan. But now 4D also had opened up, and then now people started to access the 4D also. Both human forms and dimensional fields were available to experience the same earth plane. Now, Earth was also in, part of Earth was in 5 and also in 4. The human's reality would be based on which human form and the dimensional field they chose to incarnate into. Let's provide a visual of what this looked like on the earth plane. For millions of years, the only dimensional field experienced by human was 5D. Something like Satya Yuga, right? Something like Satya Yuga, where everything was actually perfect. The only reality experienced by the human was in fifth dimension. All humans were experiencing themselves in the 5D field. As the human began to tap into and experience an anchor to the lower dimensional fields, fourth field, that field opened on the earth plane. There were now two-dimensional fields energetically visible based on how a human was choosing to experience their reality. There were 5D humans and 4D humans on the same earth plane. What they say is, in Satya Yuga, the entire earth plane was filled with only people who were more divine, okay? And the consciousness which were choosing to also operate in lower dimensions. There were lower dimensions. It's not like they were no lower dimensions. It is just that in the earth plane, that thing was not opened up, that's all. But there were lower dimensional fields outside the earth plane, not inside the 12D grid and all. I'm just saying, before all of this happened also, the lower ones were still there. It was not like it was not there. It was there, and there were definitely some consciousness HTC that chose to go and take that experience also. But what they are saying is, in what I am getting is, during Satya Yuga, everything was happening in the earth field where all Satya Yuga kind of experiences only, where telepathy was happening. People were choosing to live infinitely, which means they didn't, they were living for a forever kind of thing. At that time, the demons, so-called lower dimensional consciousnesses, were outside the earth plane. But by the time it was Ramavatar, which is Treta Yuga, both were in the same planet, which is what we can actually, if we map that to this, they were both living in the same plane. Ravan and Ram were living on earth, in different parts of earth. During Krishna Avatar, Dwapar Yuga, what they say, they were in the same families, right? The demons and the godly people were in the same families. We can see that. Kauravas, Pandavas and all of that. Now, in the Kali Yuga, it is inside the same human being only. The Kali and the the divinity and the lower forms, everything is inside the same human being. And which is why we need to work on ourselves. We can't fight somebody else. In the past, they were fighting somebody else because they were anchored in the 5th D. They were trying to fight people in the 3D. Or fight means they were trying to work with people in 3D and then whatever, do moksha, blah, 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 whatever. They were trying to help them ascend. But we can't do that, no, to ourselves. We can't kill ourselves. We need to work with ourselves and believe that everything is inside us only, right? So all humans were experiencing themselves in the 5D. As humans began to tap in the experience and anchor into 4D, that field opened on the earth plane. There were now 2-dimensional fields that were visible. So people could choose whatever reality. There were 5D humans and 4D humans on the same earth plane. This is how the quantum field works and how the earth started to shift down into lower dimensional fields. So it happened gradually. See, if you see those people living in, say, Kali Yuga and all that, the Satya Yuga and all, they were living, they literally did tapas for 10,000 years, 20,000 years, 1 lakh years kind of thing. I mean, just meditation they did, tapas, they did it for so many thousands of years. Their life was like even much greater than that. They didn't die at all. The body was not meant to die at all. But over a period of time, because it started to shift to a 4th-dimensional field, people like Rama, Avatar and all came. I mean, of course, there were other avatars also that came. But if we just take the Rama Avatar, it had actually started to occur, right? The shift had started to happen and they had seen a lot of problems, and which is why these avatars and all started coming over a period of time. In the words of these kinds of books, they call them light workers. They call them people who had come to shift the consciousness of the planet and raise the planet. Like, for example, before Rama Avatar, there is a story which says Mother Earth went and pleaded to Narayan and said, I am suffering, I'm like heavy, I'm not able to operate, I'm like, there's so much of heaviness, density in my body, in my life. So I need you to come. You take an avatar, come, please help. She goes and pleads for help. And everybody goes to Narayan for help. And then, I mean, there are other linked stories, and then eventually he comes in the form of Rama. And his entire thing was to basically reduce the heaviness on earth, which is the density of earth. His only job was that only. So, in many demons he killed at that time. It means their bodies he killed. He didn't kill the HTCs. Because if they leave, once the body is destroyed, they'll have to anyway come back to earth via the grid only, right? So the grid was anyway acting as the thing and all that. So they could control who enters the grid at that point, which is what we are saying. So like that, they tried to reduce the density by killing people who were not aligned to this whole earth experiment. So like that, I think many avatars have come, not just the Dashavatar. Creating the 4D races. The 6th reason for the fall and one of the impactful events that ever took place on Earth was the design and the creation of the 4D races. So some race was created. Once the 4th-dimensional field and the 4D human form became available for HTC to incarnate into, the design of 4D beings and 4D races began to take place. Now let's see what those are. A race is a collective consciousness experiencing itself as a specific frequency. Okay? See here what happened, 5D people shifted into 4D. Right? They were originally 5D, or they were originally coming from elsewhere, and then they eventually came as 5D. The human being itself was a 5D human. He went lower to 4D, but certain consciousness, what happened, they started being born itself from the 4D level. They are that frequency. The human, on the other hand, is not a race. They are HTC within a physical body experiencing a lower dimensional field, which is what we saw. The higher dimensional consciousness is not the 3D, 4D or 5D form. Let's read this again. A race is a collective consciousness experiencing itself as a specific frequency. A group of people, you can say, they are that frequency. Okay, 4D frequency. The human, here they don't say human body. Okay, human means somebody who's attached to the that consciousness, the body. The human, on the other hand, is not a race. They are HDC. We saw that, right? We all know that somebody who's attached to the human body is a HDC within a physical body experiencing a lower dimensional field. That you understood, right? Any doubts there? The HDC is not the 3D, 4D or the 5D form. What kind of form he is? He may have come from some other form, some other dimension, which is 40th dimension, 20th dimension, 20 dimension, all that we saw in the previous chapters. He is not a person. HDC is not a person from the 3D, 4D or 5D form or a dimensional field. Okay, he's from somewhere up. He just had to drop down lower for the experience. HTC that had been incarnating into both 5D and 4D human forms began to get curious about creating a 4D race that would exist in the 4D field alongside the human form. Instead of incarnating as a HTC into a 4D human, they wanted to create a consciousness that would be a fourth dimensional. Its form and consciousness would be one. So they started to do some creation here. These HTCs that had come here to this level, they thought, why shouldn't I only create a race like this human being? And in 4D, you can't obviously create a 5D form, right? You can only create wherever you are. You can only create at that level only. So they started to create some creations which are beginning or which are at that level only. So they said they created a consciousness, which means something like a energy. Okay, some energy that would be fourth dimensional. Remember, one of the universal laws states that all consciousnesses entering the 12D grid had to be holding a sixth dimensional frequency or higher. That was the law. So anybody, all these HTCs that are participating and all are 60 plus. And eventually they went to, they were participating in the 5D and then they went down to 4D, all that. Fourth and fifth dimensional consciousnesses could not enter the 12D grid and experience the earth plane. So people who were originally there in the 4D or 3D or something outside this experiment could never participate in this whole thing, right? Creating a 4D race with a 4D form would bypass this universal law and allow any race designed by HTC to enter and experience the earth plane. So what happens? They had anyway created a law that 4D guys could not enter the grid. But now you are basically violating that law and creating a race that can actually be in the 12D and originally start off only as 4D. Okay, which is what they started manipulating the law itself. Creating a 4D race of beings would allow for a complete new experience on the earth plane. And in that 12D grid, they had not designed, they had not anticipated, they had not envisioned all this flaw. The 4D races would not be connected to a higher self. Okay, this is an independent entity. Okay, there is no HTC connections at all. There is no IAP. There is no blah, 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 all that. They are basically creating a new being out from themselves or something like that. They are not connected to a HS, to guides or to the I am presence or any other higher consciousness. They would be the fourth dimensional frequency. The 4D field would dictate their entire reality. Something like you can imagine like a robot kind of thing, something like which is an independent entity. They would not have a human DNA. They would not look like a human form. They would be created separately from anything we created. anything we created and would experience the earth plane differently from the human. So they created something like some creature. You can say they created a new creature which was from their own creation. Like how you create a plant, an animal, like that, they created a creature which was majorly having 4D frequencies, and they are not human beings, which GFOL did not create them. So they didn't have a proper plan, they didn't have a proper testing, all that was not done. So there is no DNA, they are not behaving like a human being at all. Many higher dimensional collective consciousness wanted to design this 4D race. Now what happened? Everybody wanted to have a say over, okay, I'm going to create this, I'm going to do this experiment, I'm going to do this experiment kind of thing. Because everybody now is in the power play mode. I'm better than you mode was anyway happening, no? So they started to now do all that. These included the Greys. So who are these people? All these higher dimensional collective consciousnesses wanted to design these 4D races. Who are these? Who are those people? The Greys, the Anunnaki, the Zetas, Orions, and the Lyrans. All these are examples. Okay, though they are the collective consciousnesses. These are benevolent higher dimensional collective consciousnesses. They hold frequencies between the 7th and the 18th dimension. They were volunteering as benevolent consciousnesses on the earth plane for millions of years prior to designing a 4D race. Okay, they were so-called good people sort of thing. But they now wanted to create a race of their own. Okay, something that for fancy kind of thing. Some of these names are currently perceived as many in your reality as darker beings. Okay. Even in these kind of communities, they call them as fallen angels. They call them as fallen angels. They call them as dark entities. All of that they call them. But in this whole thing, what you should see is whether people blame them or people don't blame them. If you're stuck in this whole design, if you're stuck in this thing for millions and millions of years, you will never even know that you're actually doing it. Right? You can understand what was happening here, right? It was all, you are inside that game and you are completely absorbed in the game of creation, the game of competition. So you will never understand when you actually cross that line and go into an area where you forget who you are. So that is because the higher dimensional collective consciousnesses created these 4D races, and humans gave them the same name as consciousnesses that designed them. The Greys are 11th dimensional beings that created the 4D races that today's humans call Greys. Of course, I'm not aware about these dark entities and all that. So, but let's agree that there are, I mean, I've read that in the books, but I have not paid attention to into going more deeper into this whole thing. The Anunnakis are 7th to 9th dimensional beings that created the 4D race that today's humans call the Anunnaki. They hold the same names, but they are very different beings and different frequencies. There are many 4D races created at this time, and not all hold the names of the consciousnesses that created them. Names and labels are only necessary on the earth plane. They allow the human to understand energies. The 4D races don't have names. They are all known by their energetic signature and frequency, just like all HTCs. A Grey in the 4th dimensional frequency is known and understood by experiencing its energy. A Palladian in the 8th dimensional frequency is known and understood by experiencing its energy. It is a 3rd dimensional human that needs names, because we can't understand energies, no? We can't understand the energetic blueprint of somebody else. We can't read them by their energies. So that is why we have a name for that form. But the people who are able to understand energies don't need a name for that form, because they can understand the uniqueness of that energy when somebody comes into your field. A 4D race was designed like everything else in the quantum field through intent and energy. The HTC, the higher dimensional collective consciousness, were aware of how we created the physical form, including the human form, and used their similar techniques. So who created these human forms? GFOL and the team, that 120 people they said, right? They created the human form. And the human form was already available, rules were available, how babies should be created, everything was available. Now people were just supposed to come in and experience within the boundaries of what GFOL had created. But what happened? Now they wanted to be like GFOL. They wanted to do such lab work, creation work of human being itself. Okay, that human being kind of entities itself. Where is it? Aware, yeah. Their creation, however, was different from us. They weren't creating a physical form. They were creating a new consciousness that was the physical form. So what they're saying is, they were we higher dimensional consciousnesses were all energy, and they had a vehicle like a human body. They are not the vehicle. Okay, vehicle was used for experiencing, but here what they're saying is the consciousness itself, they made that consciousness itself physical. It's not like somebody is going and attaching to a physical. They made that being itself was physical. Understood? Because it's a physical dimension. No, 4D is a physical dimension. They will anyway, if they had intent and energy, when they had lowered it, it became physical. It is not like for example, HTC, when they had to connect to this physical body, what all they did, they had to create one energy body. They had to make it go and sit inside that. Then that had to connect to physical body. They had thought through so much so that they actually return in the path of evolution, and they understand who they are. They have connection with HS. All that was basically well thought through. But they were already in the 4D, so they created a being itself in 4D. There was not, this being had no up, he had no down, right? He was born there only, and he could not go up, he could not go down. Remember, there was no evolutionary path for this being, because see, if you have come from somewhere, you can go back to that place. But if you've never come from anywhere up, how can you go up? Right? So these people, what they were creating they were creating some race which is now going to be stuck in the 4D plane. They were creating a new consciousness that was in the physical form. There were 3 steps in creating the 4D races. First, they had to understand the energy that they were designing, the energy of the 4D consciousness. This first step was attained through their own experience of the 4D field in 4D form, 4D human form. They understood, if they were there for millions of years, no? So they understood, oh yeah, how does 4D field work? All that they had understood. So once they understood, they took that knowledge, they took that experience, and then they designed one entity. The more they experienced the 4D consciousness in the human form, the easier it was to create a race in that field. Step 2 and step 3 occurred simultaneously. They intended aspects of their frequency or light codes to split from their consciousness to become both the physical 4D form and 4D consciousness that would reside within the form. They took their energy itself and created that form, right? It was not like an attachment. It was not like your part only is now attached to that. It was not like you are only lowering your frequency to go there. No, it was not like that. They created something separate from them. First, they energetically split an aspect of their consciousness into light codes, holding the intention of a 4D consciousness and 4D form. The light codes would create both consciousness and a form at the same time. Okay, everything was together. They didn't have a separate up or down connection. They shifted the light codes down into 4D frequencies, created the new 4D consciousnesses or beings. Next, as soon as the consciousness was created, it shifted into 4D physical form. Instantaneously, there was a 4D consciousness, a being in the 4D physical form existing outside of themselves. So there are these Greys and the Lyrans and all that. Now they have a new guy who is different, but who got created from their own energy. Something like a baby without another male and female kind of combination. Next, as soon as the consciousness was created, it shifted into, okay, this new aspect of this HT's collective consciousness would be separate from them. For example, the Greys intended to create a 4D race using their collective consciousness. They created the light codes, infused them into 4D frequencies, and instantaneously there was a 4D form holding the 4D consciousness. The new 4D Grey was an aspect of the 11th dimensional Grey. Now, this 11th dimensional Grey has an up and a down, and father and mother, everything he has. But father, mother means he has his IAP, everything. But this 4D guy that they created through their own energy, no, that doesn't have anybody else. Because this guy cannot be the father of that, no, this guy cannot be the IAP of that. So they created a new entity itself. The new 4D Grey was an aspect of the 11th dimensional Grey. A 4D being was designed and created in one now moment. They split their consciousness, slowed it down to 4D, and created a new physical form from their light codes. Once the 4D being was created many times over, they had a race of 4D beings, all with the same light codes and same physical features. You can think of robots. Something like robots, everybody looks the same, everybody is the same, everybody's light codes are also the same. Right? Everything is the same. There is no DNA. There is no customization in the DNA. There is nothing like that. So everybody is going to behave like the same way. Earth was now inhabited by 4D beings that had very different intentions from human beings. They were not volunteers experiencing the evolution. They were beings created to experience the 4D field. Just 4D field. We never intended for higher dimensional consciousnesses to create 4D race. And yet, with free will, we had to allow it to unravel. Hundreds of 4D races were designed at this time and played a significant role in not only shifting the Earth down into lower frequencies, but also in bringing about the physical destruction of Earth. You can imagine that in our Shastras, they call all of these demons. And even if you read about this, what was his name? That Raktabijasura. Apparently, every drop of his blood used to create more and more Rakshasas. I mean, see, this is a complex English that we are understanding. But if you, all our Shastras have the same, if you go and dig this whole thing into our Shastras, I'm sure you'll find the same connection. So like this, many demons were basically created by the original HDCs. Okay. We never intended. And the Earth basically went down into lower frequencies and was about to destroy Earth. The 4D races on the Earth plane were holding 4D frequencies, experiencing themselves in the 4D field. This extenuated and expanded the 4D dimension of the Earth plane more and more. As the 4D field continued to expand, Earth's frequencies began shifting down into 4D. Over time, the 4D races started accessing the 3D field to experience the 3D consciousness. Okay, like the way they went to 4D, the races started to experience this. The races started to access the 3D because they can go lower, they can't go higher. They navigated the 3D because if a person is 4D, 1D, 2D, 3D, all that is a part of that. They navigated the 3D field through choice and intent while remaining anchored in the 4D. Their physical forms never shifted into 3D. They would choose to tap into 3D consciousness all the while remaining in a 4D. They were just going there, experiencing all these frequencies and coming back kind of thing, I think. However, the more these beings accessed the 3D field, the more expanded the Earth's field. The field became on Earth. These beings began opening the 3D field. This allowed the 4D humans easier access into 3D field also. Similar to how 5D opened the 4D humans began to open the 3D. Their body frequencies again slowed down and shifted down to 3D. Remember, the human form was designed to shift frequencies and dimensions. We created the form to evolve with the Earth plane. It shifts frequencies. Therefore, when the 4D human form began experiencing the 3D, it was inevitable that the fawn would begin to lower its frequencies down into 3D. Okay, so this is exactly what happened. How did we fall? This is called the fall from grace, which is what the chapter's name was all about, right? The fall from grace. The fall that grace is fifth dimensional consciousness, where we were connected to God and all that. From that state of grace, we fell down into 3D, majorly because we were just curious, majorly because we were all we were very, very curious and in creation, competitive, and yeah, just curious, I think. That is what scientists and all do, right? I mean, everybody has a scientist in them. We all curiously mix ingredients and do something in the kitchen. We do something, mix colors and do something in the color palette and paint something. Here, all that curiosity is still within us. I'm not saying that somebody was wrong to do all that. I'm just saying that it happened. Because how will you control what other person does? It happened. But yeah, now that it has happened, and we have fallen a lot. We have fallen a lot, and the major problem is we in this body we can't understand who we are. Even though we have all this knowledge, we have a tendency to keep making the same things, keep repeating the same things, our habits. And millions of years we've been in 3D now, and our habits are very strongly 3D. So even though you get knowledge, you have a tendency to slip back into 3D, and which is exactly why we need to be really conscious of getting out of this duality. The more you are very conscious of getting out of duality, just for the sake of getting out of duality, not for some fear, because those are anyway there. The field is meant to give you those fears. The field is meant to create realities for you, to make you believe it is real. But what does a horse do? When a horse is running, they keep these things so that it doesn't look and get distracted here and there, and it's keep running in the same direction. So we have to have that kind of a perception that I'm oneness all the time, oneness. You have to think like that. The more you are like that, irrespective of whether you are feeling ashamed, whether somebody is scolding you, whether somebody is doing anything to you, hold on to that state of oneness. Hold on to that state. Few principles, just hold some principles, 1 or 2 principles: surrender, acceptance. Don't expect anything in return. Just do your karma. Don't think about my child, my husband, all that. Never think about that. Those are all again delusions that we are getting in this world. So the more you think like that, the more you are like that, just it will see, you've done enough in the 3D. You've done enough. You're doing repeatedly, you're still doing the same thing. Now it's time to wake up and go out of this. So you're getting this knowledge because you're ready to go out. And now it's the time for you to execute that knowledge and go out. Is anybody else in your family on this call? My own family is not on this call. Why? Because they are not ready. They're not ready to shift. So we can't help them shift. When their time comes, they will get the knowledge and they will shift. Everybody will shift. Everybody will finally find that urge to shift. So if you are getting the knowledge today, you have to make that effort to apply these things on a daily basis. And forget about your attachments, desires, and all of those things. Because it will happen anyway. Okay. So yeah, if you have any questions, you can unmute yourself.
Smita, why was only demons being created?
No, I'm not saying demons are bad or something. I'm just saying that they are like that because somebody created them, no? It was not created from a source level.
Okay.
It was not created from the source level.
Okay.
It was created somewhere in between.
Mm-hmm. It was
Like if you
created in
create
the
a,
fourth
a clone or
dimension.
something, if you create,
Okay.
let's say, a cloning or something, that is something like that.
Okay. It's like that. It's not like demon as such. It is some clone or something like.
No, when I say demons, I just referred back to maybe in our Shastras, they referred to those people as demons. I'm not
Okay.
saying they are called demons.
Okay.
I'm just seeing if maybe we can equate it to that just for understanding purposes.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, Sangeeta?
Hello. So
See, at a global level, if you see, I mean, at a cosmic level, at that level, if you see, even those entities are an essence of God only. Because every possible thing that has ever been created is that essence of God only. But it's just that it doesn't have that structure because it did not come from that source. That's all. Yeah. Yes, Sangeeta.
yeah, so in the beginning of this sixth point, creating 4D races, it was mentioned HTCs that had been incarnating into both 5D and 4D human forms began to get curious about creating a 4D race that would exist. So are these like departed souls from 5D and 4D?
No,
They are
these are
the
not
ones who
departed
have.
souls. They just created another person that looks like them.
But
That
who created? Who's the creator?
those HTCs. See,
The
HTC
HTCs
creating
who did not incarnate, who chose not to incarnate and are still in 12Ds, those are created.
Yes, some of these people have not incarnated. They are all collective, like those stars and all that.
But because they did not incarnate, do they still have access to the experiences of 5D and 4D planes?
Everybody has access to quantum field. Everybody has access. They did not.
Experiences.
No, they created a race through. See, Earth. They were all inside the Earth. They were all able to access everything on Earth because they were inside the 12D grid. Same rules apply inside 12D, or whether it is in 5th D plane, 5D plane, or 12D grid. In that whole thing, same rules exist. If I've come to watch from, let's say, 10th dimension, I'm still not incarnating as a human being. Maybe I'm collectively sitting there as a star. I can still watch people. I can still watch human beings. I can still, access that dimension. May not be as a human being. So what they did, they created a race of their own. They did not come as human beings. They did not enter a human being also.
But when they tell us about the 4 steps of creating races, the first step is this first step was attained through their own experience of the 4D field in the 4D human form.
Maybe they incarnated also in some cases.
So maybe they incarnated and then went back and then thought of creating such a race. Because
Maybe a
now
part
they
of
have
them.
the
See,
experience.
collective consciousness means many HDCs are within that collective. They call them zones and all that. We read about zones and all that. No? So in stars and all of that. So many HDCs are basically sitting there as a collective star system, group of stars and those kinds of things. So maybe some HDCs, maybe their representatives maybe had incarnated as a 4D human. And then eventually they teamed up and then maybe they decided to create a 4D race. Yeah, why shouldn't we have people of our own kind of thing?
So now that we have experienced what happens there, let's create the perfect robot.
Like let us only create. Why human? Why should we take a human from that those people created? Why shouldn't we only create our own stuff kind of thing?
Yeah. Why only 2 legs?
Something like that.
Then I did not understand the difference between 4D race and 4D beings. Is collection of beings called a race, or
you can just say 4D being is a race is a group. A group. Race is always a group. Race is a group of similar kind. Race is a group of similar kind. But in the in the HTCs that took a human form, went to 4D, you know, everybody is unique. There is nothing like a race there. You and I don't think the same way. We are different. But in that race, everybody is like a pattern, a template kind of thing. They are exactly the same. They are working for a common cause. Whatever you program them for, they will do that.
Then another thing, this light quotient, we earlier discussed about light quotient, that depending on the dimension, the light quotient was some percentage that was reduced. But here we moved from 5D to 4D and then to 3D, the light quotient hasn't changed.
Light quotient, see, light quotient, whatever that got attached to HTC was 6%. Maybe that also is reduced. Maybe they'll show eventually. They will talk about it eventually.
Okay, maybe.
Which is why they say that they lost connection to HS. That light quotient would have reduced, which is why there is no connection. They lost connection.
And there was a mention of bypass. I did not understand that.
Which is what bypass?
That there is a universal law.
See,
in 12D, there were only.
See, when they created this whole experiment, they didn't take applications from entities who were already existing in 4D, 3D and all that. Let's assume that place is not empty originally also. Okay, that dimension is not empty. Let's say outside the 12D grid, that dimension may have been populated by other HTCs. So we are not worrying about that. So, but they didn't give them entry into the experiment at all. Because those are lower dimensional beings, their thinking will be different. The way they operate will be, they may not have a body, but it will still be flawed. They would have been operating in the lower frequencies. So they didn't give access to that experiment at all because they wanted people to never get into duality. So that is why people who were never in duality were selected for this experiment. Now what happened? These people and GFOL did not envision that people who have come from top only will go down. Ideally, what should have happened? They should have closed off the grid at 5 itself. Then 4 and 3 would have anyway been separated. It should have been outside the earth plane. But they didn't do that for some reason. They forgot to do that or whatever. Why they did not do that? They didn't envision is what they say. But what these people did, they went down. These people did not take applications from lower profiles. But now these people only became lower and they only went lower. And what they did? They created a new race itself. They are from 60, let's say. They were qualified to get down and all that. But now you create a being who's originally from 4D, who has no understanding of 6 or 5 or 7 or 8 or something. Then technically you're violating the law, no?
Understood.
Bypassing them.
An analogy came to my mind. So there are some schools that say we will only take students who get 90%. Now, out of these students itself, some students decide to get lower than 40%. Then
yeah, exactly. Not only that. Now, let's say maybe there are some students of their own teachers or something like that. But maybe they don't apply for outsiders. They are in the inside quota or something. Now, if there are 40%, 50% students, and if they are included in the whole equation, then they bypass the law. Yeah.
Okay, then I pause. I'll come back later.
Yeah. Manjula?
Can you hear me, Smita?
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to understand if my understanding is correct. So since the 4D humans couldn't able to access the 12D because only 60 and above can access the 12D dimension, they decided to create their own races, right?
Sorry, come again.
The human form in 4D and 5D will not able to access the 12D dimension because only the 60 and above will be able to access the 12D and human form. They decided to create their own races so that they can go ahead and access the earth plane or the 12D, right? That is the main purpose. The 4D and 5D human races decided to create the 4D races, right? Is it my understanding is correct?
There was no reason why they wanted to create a 4D race. They just wanted to create for the fun of it.
Because there was a statement saying that the fourth and fifth dimension could not experience the 12D or earth plane. So that's why
Where was that mentioned?
in today's
Can you tell me which point?
yeah, I'm just taking the book.
Okay, remember one of the universal laws states that one, no?
Yes, yes, yes.
Remember, one of the universal laws states that all consciousnesses entering the 12D grid had to be holding a sixth dimensional frequency or higher. Fourth and fifth dimensional consciousnesses could not enter the 12D grid and experience the earth plane. So, which is, see, the earth was starting from 5, right? Earth experiment was starting from 5. So why would a person already in 5 want to experience the earth experiment? He's already anyway experiencing those consciousnesses. Why should he come into the experiment to experience it? So that is why 5D people were not they were not invited. And of course, 4 was anyway never in the picture. So if 5 only is not invited, why will they invite 4? So 4 and 5 and all were not there.
Because of that universal law that only the 60 and above can enter the 12D and earth plane, right?
Yes.
I understand that. So it's more like they created their own version, like a what you. So
Yeah.
my question is, who am I, like Smita, with? Am I the human form which is created by the 4D races, or I'm the one come from the source? How do we differentiate that?
Maybe because you're getting this knowledge. Why would a robot kind of person get this knowledge? Let's not assume robot. Why, if you are not on the path of evolution, why would you be on this class?
Okay.
Because those kind of entities were never on the path of evolution. And further in the book, you will see that they have a lot of dark agendas.
Okay. This was the one.
Even though we were mean in the past, we've done all sorts of mean things. But we are definitely on the path of evolution, which is exactly why we are getting this knowledge in the first place. So
because this was the one got flashed.
You have angels, you have guardian angels who are protecting you. You are not alone. You are constantly guided. You are protected. You are safe. All that is definitely there for you, which is why this knowledge is coming. You did not ask for this knowledge. You did not even think about this knowledge. It actually came to you.
Okay, because this was a thought, this got flashed immediately. Oh, we have because we never knew this was coming up. So as soon as we read it, you say the fear was murmuring about. So am I the one from the separated from the source, or the one I was getting created by the 8th dimension or 12th dimensional human race?
See that, I mean, when this is outside the book, but then what there are entities who are not from source, who are basically called dummies, like this only, dummies. What they do, like for example, let's say people at the supermarket giving you some common instructions and blah blah blah. They're not using their brain, kind of thing. Those kinds of people are technically dummies, is also what they say. In some other forums and all that, people in these spiritual discussions and some, when you read Dolores Cannon's books and all that, lots of such talk is there. Because we have actually come millions and millions of years, and people have created all kinds of nonsense, created left, right, and center. So every sort of possible creation has already been created, and every sort of possible curiosity has already been experimented. Even now they are experimenting. So for that matter, there are so many people who may not be like you and me. There may be just dummy entities with just a body. They say. Like Earth is basically not filled with only HTCs. The Earth is filled with those also. And there are so many earthbound souls also, which have not left the earth plane. which means all these HTCs, part of that entities, HTTs, they have not left the earth plane at all because they want to desire more and more and more on the earth plane. They have not gone back to that next level, those astral worlds. Lower astral and the higher astral, and we spoke, no? They have not gone back there at all. They were not willing to go back there. Because when we die, especially in the 3D and all that, we are lost, right? So typically somebody comes, your guardian angels and all that, they come to take us to that level. They call it crossing over. So there are so many entities who are not willing to cross over because they have desires here. And at that time, with the very strong desire keeps you in that plane, apparently. You cannot cross over. So there are so many earthbound souls who are still lingering on this earth plane. And you can see people, let's say suddenly you are angry and in the next moment, why was I so angry? It was not necessary for me to be so angry, you would say sometimes. So then what happens? We are basically sucked, or our energy is zapped by many of these earthbound souls because we forgot, no, we are sovereign. So at a very subconscious level also, we can be taken over. So Earth 3D is a very vulnerable plane to be, is what they say.
And the other new thing which I learned today is like the 3D doesn't have a free will. All the while, as like I had a strong opinion, we have the free will, but today's yours was given a different perspective.
Yeah, we don't have free will. We think we have free will because the body, as we are in body consciousness, where did the body have free will in the first place? If I was in the soul consciousness, I would never even think about whatever I'm asking as free will today. So yeah, we don't have free will. We just have to focus on getting to that state where we have free will. We can actually execute that free will properly. Today, we don't have that sense of understanding what we are asking also properly. So our major focus has to be to get to that level. That is the only choice I think we have. We don't have any other choice. We actually don't have any choice. Either we'll be stuck here, deluded, or we just have to see it is not a bad place to be. If you have knowledge, if you have understanding, while you are here, while you are evolving to the oneness state and all that, enjoy while you are here. See, that is the only, how do we get more energy? Only when you are in the present moment. And the present moment, even whatever in 3D also, you have a present moment. You have to be in that present moment. We have to keep trying, keep meditating, keep trying. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Smita.
Yeah, Sangeeta?
Yeah, so today we also read that 4D races would not be connected to higher self, to guides, or to the I am presence of any other higher consciousness. So who are guides?
Guides are people who are also in the 12D, but then who mean well, somebody who represent GFOL and those kinds of entities. So everybody who are in the 3D now, we all, or people who are deluded, you can say, we all have another guardian angel kind of person who will be constantly watching us, because we are not connected to HS also. We are deluded, we are connected, we are just doing we are just going in the dark. So what they do is they try to manage and ensure that we don't hurt ourselves, and many of these things they try to do. I mean, trying to ensure that they are not overstepping on our interference and all that. They try to manage in some way or the other, trying to give us clues and knowledge. They get us some experience where we will be connected. They'll hope that we'll be connected to our true path.
So they are fellow human.
No, they are not human beings. They are
not
light
human.
Beings. No, they are not light. They are not human beings. They are all light beings.
Light beings. So they are
Or
HTC.
they could be people who have been human beings and they have evolved into a higher consciousness. They've basically moved on in the path of evolution. They can also be guides. Like people like Ramta. There are so many people who have basically become enlightened and they've basically ascended and all that, right? So what is their job? Their job is to again guide humanity only.
So after this evolution is completed, you merge back to the source.
That's a very long path. Before that, you'll do a lot more work for
So
fellow
this
human
is
beings.
one of the work that you do on the path.
Yeah, whatever I am doing is also one of that work.
Yeah, but you are a fellow human.
Yeah, I'm a human.
But
So eventually, but somebody will be
somewhere-
guiding me also. Somebody will be guiding you also. For example, in 2019, I got an opportunity to chat with a psychic. Okay, a psychic is a person who channels. Okay, she's a proper channel. So she was able to channel my guides. Apparently, at the time I had 7. They keep changing apparently. So I had 7 people at that time. Why? What is their role? Their role is to ensure that I keep getting upgraded with knowledge and other things so that I can move on this path of evolution. Otherwise, who's going to give me knowledge if I'm just lost? So during astral travels, when we sleep and all that, body astral travels, right? Our astral body travels. So at that time, they hold on to us, dump all that knowledge into us, hoping that that knowledge will eventually come into the conscious mind at some point. When the sun and other things keep pumping energy into us, at some point that will click, that knowledge will click, the knowledge, energy, everything will all come in the same point, and then I'll have that energy, I'll have that knowledge available to me. They are people who are constantly trying to ensure that we are getting out of this state of delusion.
so you knew about these 7, or you also came to know
I don't
about...
know. I don't know. No, I don't know their names also. I don't know. Out of that, apparently 5 people had names and 2 people don't have names. 2 were angels or something. But yeah. Anyway, it's happening. So I didn't become too curious about who they were and all that. Because typically what they say is, messenger is not important, message is important. So I'm anyway getting the message. Eventually, when I'm in that frequency, I'll anyway get to see them or hear them or whatever.
And these guides need not be in the 12D grid. They can be anywhere.
They are in the 12D grid.
They are?
Yeah, they are all in the 12D grid.
Okay. I mean, can a guide also be outside the 12D grid who is trying to help?
Yes, there are people. See, they don't have to. See, it's not like they can watch. Okay, they can watch from a higher dimension what I am doing. They're not right next to me being a human being. They are not physical. They can watch me from anywhere, right? Right, that is there. Now, let's say I'm meditating or something, I reach that frequency, then maybe they can connect to me, they can do some knowledge download or whatever. That is one option. Another option is, let's say I sleep and then my body astral travels and all that, then they can catch hold of me and then maybe they can give me some knowledge. Or they can maybe enable people who are able to connect to them to come and guide me as a human being. So they will either do it themselves in the invisible way, or they will find a person who is able to reach them, or who is able to get that download, or who is maybe at a higher frequencies, they get that download or something, and then they'll come to you. Or maybe they'll enable that knowledge to come through a book to you, or through some Facebook post. So all these are called runners. They send runners. Runners means things that will be able to, that you can grab onto, and maybe if you are able to pick up that clue and then take it and then get it into your system, kind of thing. Because ultimately somehow we need to get knowledge to pass this evolution where we are not even connected to HS, no? In some form it has to come, knowledge has to come, otherwise how will you wake yourself up? There is no concept where somebody is going to wake you up. And you have to wake yourself up.
After we are connected to higher self and before we connect to the source, is there also midway where we are connecting to I am presence?
No, in when you're able to, at that level, you can connect to I am presence also.
I am presence.
Your body is in that 5D, that's all. But you have as an awareness level, you can connect to HS also. In that, remember they said a 5D human being, a 5D human awareness, whatever, that 5D human form can also connect to I am presence. That connection is fully there. For him to go to that level, he has to finish off 5D experience, then finish off 6D experience. He wants, in the human form, he wants to experience physicality. But access is there. 5D human can access IAP also.
And he can also access IMP of other.
Yes, he can. He can. He can access IMP of other things, means he can basically directly connect to other HTCs, which are available in the 12D.
Okay, that's what it means. Okay. I also wanted to know, maybe you have already mentioned this, I have forgotten it. How does ego ensure our safety?
Who's ego?
Ego.
Oh, ego. Yesterday I mentioned this.
You mentioned it. Okay, then
I was telling ego. Ego is what? Ego is, first of all, I am HDC. I am connected to the source. I am a part of the Earth experiment. Blah blah blah. All that is your identity. You know who you are. But yesterday when we spoke about that entire drop down to lower dimensionals and all that, then we discussed what happened to the ego. You were connected to a physical body, and that physical body had its limitations. Now you got confused. You are now getting confused. You are this immortal, but you have a body which you are trying to literally make it work, and it's not able to perform the way it has to, and the body is constantly dying. And over time, you got attached to the body, right? You are not now, you forgot who you are. You got attached to your creations, your forms. So that became an altered ego. And then over time, because you got attached to the body, when will the body die? How the body is getting threatened? What are the risks for the body to die? All that started coming into his head. It became his project. Protecting the body became a project.
Okay.
Because the creations itself was threatening the human body, right? His own creations were threatening, his creations or somebody else's creations. They were all threatening the human body. Lions would come and kill them. Or maybe another, I don't think another human being was killing at the 5D level. Another human being was not killing another human being. But then the animals were killing other animals. Let's say I created a goat and then you created a lion. Your lion will eat my goat. And I am actually, my ego is hurt because of that. I'm humiliated. Because you are overpowering, your sense of creation is overpowering my sense of creation. And then you showed superiority over my creation. So all this started happening. So over a period of time, there was, let's say, issues on Earth itself, let's say, the way body faces, maybe in lack of food. Many of these things were also the harsh climates. All those things also cold.
Ego was initially designed to keep the human form safe. So it was already anticipated that this will happen.
Ego was not designed. Ego was actually there. That I am a...
What was the purpose of ego initially?
See, ego, I am presence. At that level, at a lower level, it is something else, right? I am presence means I am a part of this, I am a part of that. For example, let's say you are Sangeeta, you know that you are Sangeeta. When you act in a movie or something as something else, you originally know that you are Sangeeta, but then while you're acting in the movie, for like 1 year, you're acting in the movie. Don't you get so attached to that role that you're playing? That is what is the thing. And so many people, they marry off the heroines and all that. The hero marries the heroine and all because they were acting on the set for a very, very long time. Because they became so attached to maybe the wife of that role or something like that. So this is what happened to the human being. That is what is called distorted ego. The ego became something else. The ego thought it became the body, and it forgot. It knew I am a HDC, but for a while, for maybe many years, it was basically trying to control the way the human body works because it was a creation of me. But over a period of time, it became me. That today, even today, we are running away. We are trying to outsmart something else. Even today, we are doing it. We are trying to outsmart some form of disease. We are trying to outsmart who created the disease. Our ignorance created the disease. And then now we are trying to make the disease go away. And we are trying to outsmart that with, let's say, something or the other. Let's say you can say Reiki, you can say pranic healing, you can say this healing, that healing, something or the other we are trying to outsmart, thinking that something else is going to heal me. We are still doing it. And I'm playing with myself only. I'm playing with my own creations. If it's disease, of course. Now, let's say somebody else has created something in the world. Now, again, we are threatened. Somebody is using plastic. Let's say somebody created plastic. Right? And then we feel threatened because somebody created plastic. Now we are against that person. How can you create plastic? Nothing is right or wrong about this. I'm just saying that we are deluded to that extent that we don't know what we are doing. We need to wake up and figure out what is our original objective in this whole thing. Is to basically get back to that HS state. Do anything but get back to that HS state. That should be your objective in everything, in every single step of your life. And you should understand that every, let me just switch on the light. So we should understand that every single experience, every single person, every single situation in our life is showing us our obstacles in our path to that state. Our children are showing us what obstacles we have. Our husband is showing us what obstacles we have through their behaviors, through their attitudes, whatever it is, through the choices that they make, and the emotions that come inside us when they make those choices. Everything is showing us our own obstacles. So we need to work on our own obstacles to get to that state. There is no other way. So in Bhagavad Gita says, our VVGPs, which is our Vyakti, Vastu, Paristhiti, and Ghatna, they come in, those only comes, our karma comes in the form of all these. So those are our tools for sadhana. And Patriji also says, never leave a relationship. You don't cut a relationship. Even if it's the worst relationship, you can't even tolerate them, don't leave the relationship. Bear it. Work through it. Learn from it. Because someday or the other, it's your creation. You need to anyway go through it. Keep doing your sadhana until that person walks away from your life. You should never walk away from anybody's life, is what he says. Because you anyway have to do it one day or the other. You'll come back to settle terms with that character. You may not like the character, you're trying to run away from the character today, but then you'll come back. The soul is hungry for experiences. It will come back to settle terms. It's weird. Soul is weird. Can't help it.
Then the other day when I was talking about the neighbor example, where
yeah, you can't run away from your neighbor.
Yeah, then we have to face each other.
No, see, just think, you just start being grateful that he's showing you something that you thought you don't have. You thought you were a saint, but he's showing you your dark side. Keep working on that. Keep working on that. Keep accepting that. Keep saying thank you to him for showing me whatever you have. And then you accept yourself. The more you accept yourself, you don't have to remove your dark side. You are a whole being with your dark side only. You don't have to choose to be the dark side, but you can accept the dark side that you have. and you can transcend beyond that.
Then I should not be forcing myself to act otherwise in a similar
See, you
situation
have that
next
inside
time.
you means he's showing you that you have. Can you remove it? He's showing you that you have means he's a character that you've already created in your habits, which is why he's showing you that you already have. But now you already have it inside. You may not be exercising it. Are you exercising that kind of character now? No, you're not. In your current reality, you're not basically choosing to be that kind of a person. You're seeing that person there, but you are not that person. You are not currently choosing to show those characteristics inside you, which means you're not behaving like him. But it's inside you, which is why he's showing you. You can only accept and say, okay, yeah, thanks. It's inside me. I'll let it be there. Let it be there. It's a dark side. It's okay. Just send love and say, yeah, you're welcome. Whatever you, when I created you because I wanted to understand what being mean neighbor is. I understand, and I've also understood, and thank you for that information. I have enjoyed that stage. Whatever. Thank you. It will go eventually. It would have. See, the idea is not to remove darkness. The idea is to only recognize the presence of the darkness, and the very fact, the very acceptance of it itself is light. But let's say you are choosing to also do that in your current personality, then you have to correct. Sometimes we see things that we are not, no? That and all you can only accept. But sometimes you are also executing that in your current reality as in with other people. That you need to stop. For example, I told you, right? Like recently, somebody was expecting a response from me and they shouted at me. I didn't send them a response because of course I had whatever. I didn't defend saying that, yeah, I was busy with that, this, whatever. Then I was thinking, why is this experience coming to me? Then I realized I was also expecting people to respond to me when I sent them something. Maybe my clients have not given me a feedback about, I would have told them something, but they did not give me a feedback. They would have just taken that whatever suggestion, and they would not given me a feedback about whether it worked, whether it did not work or something like that. I'm also expecting, right? So I dropped that expectation. I said, okay, from now on, it's just one-sided. Somebody in that very moment, somebody asks me something, I'm just giving. That's it. End of story. That transaction is cut. After that, I'm not going to think about the transaction. That was my way of handling it. Because I'm still doing it. No, I did that. That's why I was able to recognize it. You need to search in your current personality. Are you doing like that in your life to somebody else? Are you being a pesky neighbor to your husband, to your daughter, and all that? Are you interfering in their lives, or whatever that guy does to you? Are you doing that to somebody else in your life?
Okay.
So all this is a part of introspection.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, Abha.
Yeah, hi, good evening.
Hi.
I don't know how do I put it as a dilemma, or because sometimes there are states where you just experience immense joy, immense happiness. You just want to be happy, or you're happy giving happiness to others, or maybe sharing a small act. Even serving food to a certain number of people, that gives you happiness. I mean, that's your state of mind. Generally, it may so happen. I'm telling specifically. I will always thought that see the best in people and leave the rest. It's like that. So I generally like people. It's not that, some are strong, I let them keep me, let me keep them at standby. But otherwise, but then whenever sharing this with somebody told me, I will give the reference why I'm quoting this. It can be also your vasanas. See, because this thing that can give you happiness can also give you sadness. So if you like something, if you dislike something, we introspect. Where is it coming from? So if you're liking also doing something, or if it is giving you joy, you have to go and introspect. So I really did not understand that deeply. Maybe it has a deeper significance. Secondly, like today we discussed in the class, when now we know that we have to connect. So our duty is to just work as it is a work of God, and maybe serve others. So then that is what we discuss. But we also say that, you should work upon yourself first. If we take care of ourselves, rest is taken care, because it is all about energies. So, how is it like, if I'm vibrating, I'm feeling that love inside me. So I am attracting that only, right? So I will be among people. But then if I keep working on myself, it is only self-improvement. So then I'm away from people. So how does it, the combination goes? I'm a little
No.
confused with that.
No, when you're working on yourself, why shouldn't you be with people? See, when you're serving
yeah,
people also,
because-
you are still working for yourself only, no?
Yeah, because
Okay.
sorry. So giving the
Right,
references because that's the one who mentioned to me about vasanas. Where is it coming from? You have to observe and just stop being more and more with people, because the more and more you commit, the more and more you get stuck, and again the thoughts increase. Your commitments increase and your purpose gets defeated. Okay.
See, the
So
thing
just
is, when people think that just doing, when you're alone only you can do your sadhana, when you're not with people, you cannot do sadhana. And let's say you are in between your family and then you have a lot of work, serving family and all, then craving to basically sit for meditation, craving to sit for, let's say, a jap or something, is again not something that is right. Because in any experience that comes, serving that experience like as if you're serving God is sadhana.
okay.
And whatever you're doing is already that sadhana, because you are not doing it for some selfish motive or something. You're doing it for the sheer joy of it, which means like God has given me this experience and I'm just in that flow. You're just in the flow. You're not saying, yeah, that person appreciated me, this person appreciated me. You're not even going for that. You like to do that, you're anyway doing that. That is definitely sadhana only. You are serving people like the way it is. And I'm not saying that you have to sit on a mat to do it. Sitting
No,
on a
I'm not
mat,
saying-
actually we do it so that we can be the same bhav or same level of stability comes in all the other areas where you're dealing with people. But dealing with people is the focus, which is where we are growing. We are not growing in meditation, we are not growing in jap, we are getting energy from those tools so that we can apply in all these other areas. So
exactly, this is what my
being
dilemma
in
was.
other areas itself is the focus. You cannot run away.
Yeah, because I was told that the more you get entangled, the more karma you create. It's better to keep a distance, do your work.
See,
So I
which is,
was
if
not
you have a
understanding
desire
because-
to do that, see, if you have a desire, suddenly, let me serve people because I get joy from that. That is a different thing. But let's say you're just there, but then you get an opportunity to serve people, then you are basically going. But if you are creating opportunities for yourself to serve that joy, that is what vasanas are all.
Because I was little confused,
पीछे
because
क्या
I didn't
है that-
agree. I didn't agree to
इसके
that other
पीछे
person.
क्या है, if you are able to analyze, which is, they told you correctly. What is the reason behind why you would go to people and serve? So if you're able to say, yeah, I don't have any selfish motive behind that, yeah, it's good enough.
Because I think that is our real state, right? Of being joyful or spreading happiness. So that I always believed that. But then this thing came contradictory from somebody little senior, obviously. So then I thought maybe my thought pattern should change. I mean, I should not, I don't
See,
know.
you
So,
should
but
understand
today
that
we
when
raised that. Yeah,
when
today we
somebody tells
discussed.
you
No?
something,
So
when
I
somebody
asked.
tells you something, what you understand is again through your own filters on.
Okay.
So maybe you only had that doubt inside you.
Okay. I was wondering why did it come and everything is just nice. So today when we were discussing in the class again that thing came. So I thought maybe I'll just speak out once, maybe. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, Sangeeta.
Hearing what you said to Abha, so when we say we have to practice more, it's not that we have to practice meditation more. We have to practice our meditative state in our normal life.
Absolutely. See, sitting on a mat and meditating, where you are focusing on your observing your breath, one single point, you're observing one single pointed focus and all that is anyway happening there. The same thing, which means you're in that now moment, observing your breath. You're trying to, let's say you're going for getting your thoughts, you're going to distractions, coming back to that now moment. You're going to the past, you're going to the future, coming back to the now moment. We are practicing that in meditation. Which is what we have to do that when we are awake also. In each work that you're doing, be with the work. Don't think anything. What do we think? We think the past or we think about the future. We cannot think the present. We can only appreciate the present. We can say wow to the present. We can express emotions in the present. We cannot think in the present. If you're thinking, you're analyzing, then you're analyzing based on your, again, past memories. So analysis cannot happen in the present unless you are using your past again. You're again jumping off to the past. You're taking the information from the present. You jump to the past and you're analyzing. But basically that analysis is actually happening based on the information that is again in the past. But in the present, what can happen? Everything is happening newly. You have no clue of what is actually going to unfold. So you can't think about the now. You can only watch the now. You can appreciate the now. You can show expressions in the now. You can show emotions in the now. You can't do anything more than that, which is again a meditative.
Actually, if we are living totally in now, then there won't be any questions. Even for the question to arise, it compares the knowledge that I'm getting now with what my perception was or what I read 2 pages ago.
It's helpful because we are now trying to figure out where we are. But we can, that is what knowledge is all about now. We are figuring out where we are, and then we are trying to use that knowledge to be like a person who's in 5D. We are trying to practice those skills. But without that knowledge, which we learned in the past, we will not be able to grow at all, no? So we need to use some amount of 3D features that we have here to get to 5D.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm also working on this living in the present kind of thing. I should not say it's not easy, but then it's not impossible. But it's not an overnight job. Because there are so many random thoughts that just keep coming. I don't have any thoughts that where I'm fearful or I'm analyzing. That and all is not there. Some random chattery things just keep, like, let's say something I told somebody or somebody told something to me. You just remember and you're just thinking about it. It just flashes. Again, you're coming back to the present again. Present actually seems to be slightly boring compared to all those things. So which is why we keep running away. But yeah, we need to just do it, practice it. Even if it's boring, we need to just do it.
But there are present moments which are interesting. Like when I'm painting, I forget even to eat or drink and everything. I don't think of past or future at that time. So we have to find such areas where we can concentrate.
Absolutely.
So that kind of concentration, if there is in meditation, maybe.
See, they say that make every single work entire life. What was the last sentence?
Ideally, in our normal life also, we should be able to practice that level of concentration, but
they say, right,
to be true,
or
a faraway thing to achieve. Sorry.
No, we need to think, at least we can try to look for passion in everything. Then at least it will become interesting. Make everything a creative exercise is what they say. Like a child. For a child, everything is a creative exercise. So if we are thinking like a child, then every small thing also becomes more enjoyable. It doesn't become mundane. We don't take it for granted. We are taking many things for granted, which is why it becomes mundane. We want something new all the time. But actually it is new. Like yesterday's shopping experience is very different from today's shopping experience. But we still are not able to see that uniqueness. But we need to practice. Someday we'll get there.
Yeah.
Okay. Chalo.
Okay,
Abhat, is your hand not down or you are having one more question? Okay. I don't know whether...
No, I'm done. Sorry.
Okay. Fine. Thank you so much for being here and asking so many interesting questions. I mean, it's like really, even for me, it was, I had to think and answer many things. Thank you very much. Thank you, Anita, for the Zoom session. It has really helped to get all of us together and really discuss some of these very, very important aspects for our life. Okay, thank you very much for being here, even until almost 1 hour extra. Thank you very much, friends. Be blessed. And thank you to everybody who's watching this live on YouTube or watching these recordings. It really means a lot that you see this and then make this as a part of your help yourselves evolve, right? Yeah, thank you so much. Take care. Bye.